What's going on, guys? So the Flash has finally returned, and in very Barry fashion, he's fucking up the timeline again. But this time around, he has Wally West to help him mess it up. Hey, you can't get in trouble if there's other people to blame, right? I don't know, but I just find it hilarious that we're going with a storyline now, because we know that Iris is apparently going to die by the hands of Savitar at the moment, so Barry's gonna do anything he can to save her, you know, like a good boyfriend would. And, you know, it doesn't matter if it's gonna fuck up the timelines. I wanna see what's gonna happen, because you know this is not gonna be perfect. And this is the reason why Black Flash is totally going to come back, because he's gonna be like, bitch, you're fucking up the timeline again? Like, have we not been through this for 3 seasons, homeboy? Before we get into talking about all the timey-wimey stuff, I just want to say I really did enjoy this episode. It's nice to have the flashback. It gives me a little break from having to talk about Gotham all the time. Although I love talking about Gotham, it's just nice to talk about other things. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I do have to say that the Iris part where she's crying about knowing that she's going to die very soon hit me kind of hard, because if you guys don't know, I do have like this like weird fear of death, because like, I don't know, it goes into like a childlike mindset. I'm like, holy shit, does it just go all black and you're just like, you're fucking just in the dark? Like, what the fuck? One day I might talk about my fear of death on a video, and it might just, you'll be surprised how in depth I think about this shit. Anyways, that's besides the point. So I really felt that part with Iris just knowing she's gonna die, but knowing you're gonna die very soon instead of like, I'm gonna die in like 60 years. No, she's like, 4 months! Like, I was just like, oh my god, I feel you. So that hit me right in the feels, but of course Barry's like, I'm gonna do anything for you, no matter, and no timeline's gonna get in my way. So that was a really interesting part of this episode. And then of course we got to see the whole team trying to like still kind of cope with everything they're due. We know HR is trying to get the museum up and going. Caitlin's still really worried about her metahuman powers, so still, you know, she's like, fix my bracelets, and doing all of that kind of stuff, because those things are on the fritz, and you see the moment they lose power, she's all like, so that kind of sucks. That means her powers really want to come out. We got to see Cisco kind of just still kind of like, he's still like trying to get back to old cool Cisco, and he's still kind of like, there's still a little bit of saltiness there, because you saw it towards HR, like he just doesn't want to help him and stuff like that, which kind of bothers me, because HR, I have to say, is my favorite character on this show right now. It used to be Cisco. Cisco was my boy, but then he went through that salty phase, and I was like, stop being this bitch, Cisco. Like, give me the cool, funny, I make up all the names, Cisco, but now HR's the one that makes up the names, and he's just like goofy and fun and cool, and I really like his character. And I can't believe he was getting so disrespected in this episode, along with Wally. Like, this episode, like, was low-key all about disrespect, because HR got disrespected, Wally got disrespected, and all they were trying to do was help the fucking team! Speaking of Wally, we got to see him start becoming a freaking Star City, did I say Star City? Central City Star, that's the other, with Arrow and shit. He got to be a star. I literally thought when people were bringing out their phones, I thought he was gonna be like a YouTube star. Like, he was gonna be like, oh, the Kid Flash and YouTube star, and blah, blah. I really thought they were gonna do something like that. I'm glad they didn't, because that would have been very Kick-Ass, because Kick-Ass did that, if you've seen that movie. But yeah, did you guys find it hilarious? Or maybe they just didn't want to show it, and they want you to think that it constantly happens. But did you notice that they were freaking, everybody was taking video shit and their phones weren't vibrated? Like, they were missing? Like, you could straight up see that it was Wally and Barry in those suits. You know, usually they have the face faded so nobody gets to see their identities. But nah, straight up like, oh, let's get all these pictures, and their faces aren't freaking removed. So, you know, people out there that really want to know their identities could try to put 2 and 2 together. Shout out to Plunder, because I think he had a very Deathstroke vibe. I don't know if you guys got that feeling. Very Deathstroke vibe. I don't know anything about this character. Never heard about him before this episode. So I don't know if he's like a knockoff of Deathstroke, because he looked like him. But his gun is dope. Like, so dope that Cisco was like, I want that gun, yo. Like, I want it now. That gun had tracer bullets. It had fucking bazooka things. It was lasers. Like, give me a gun like that. That shit was like Starship Troopers and like, anyways, Plunder was a pretty cool character. Like I said, I did really enjoy him. Totally worked Wally at the end. He was all like, let's fight. Well, how are you going to attack somebody straight on Wally? That is like superhero 101. You gotta zig and zag, especially when you freaking got super speed, bro. You don't just go straight on at somebody, but that is why you should be shadowing the Flash. And so that was just funny to see. Wally was like, super punch, whoa! Like, just fail. Freaking Wally. But, you know, Barry was all like, yo, bro, I need you to change the timeline because it can't be the Flash that saves it. It needs to be Kid Flash. We see Wally become that star, like I said, you know, he apprehends Plunder and they change the timeline, which is pretty cool. And then you see Harrison Wells, or not Harrison Wells, HR. I gotta bring that back up because, like I said, he got disrespected just like Wally. But man, I feel bad for the dude. The whole team was all like, dude, you're useless. Like, there's no point in you. And I just felt like terrible. I was like, dude, that's fucked up. Like, and he even says it. He was like, well, that's mean. Like, I love HR. He seems like a really cool dude. In the next episode, I want to see why he's got like a fucking bounty hunter on him, which is Gypsy or whatever. I believe that's who that woman at the end of the episode was. I believe that's going to be Gypsy, if I'm not mistaken. But she's got like a hit on Harrison Wells. And this was what's cool because, like, you know, Salty Cisco, like I said, he's been really salty. Shut up, phone! He's been really salty lately. But he kind of helped out HR to get the whole freaking up and running. You know, he called the schools and was like, shut up, phone! He freaking called all the schools, and god damn it! Yo, Logan, you're freaking messaging me on Instagram, bro, and ruining my video! It's cool, though. I'll answer you later. Anyways, that was actually about Gotham stuff. I'm telling you, gotta talk about that show all the time. I just want to talk about Flash sometimes, guys! Anyway, Cisco and HR are starting to become buddy-buddy, so much to the point that freaking Cisco in the next episode offers to be a trial by combat, and he doesn't realize that trial by combat, which he should, because he's so nerdy. If trial by combat means you're gonna freaking go to the death, and he says he's done. Does he not watch Game of Thrones? I'm pretty sure he's made some kind of nerdy references to the point where he should know what's going on in Game of Thrones, and he should know what a trial by combat is. You just, revoke his nerd card right now! Moving on, we got to see that Malfoy is going to join the team, and yes, I don't know about you guys, but I really like this. I'm pretty 100% sure that he's going to join the team. Savitar's going to come back and he's going to become Alchemy again, and he's going to fuck over the team, and maybe that's how he's going to leave at the end of this season, because I don't think he's going to stay on, although it would be cool. It would be cool if he stayed on the show for season 4 at least, because it would just add a new dynamic. Maybe he'll replace Caitlyn since she's going to be freaking Killer Frost, or I don't know, maybe he'll be able to figure it out. Okay, yeah, never mind. He's probably going to be the reason that she does not become Killer Frost at the end of the season. She'll probably be Killer Frost for a while, and then he'll find out something to help her. I don't know. We'll see. There's going to be this whole freaking storyline going on there. But I do like that he's joining the team, because it's just going to add a cool little dynamic to the whole group. And, you know, they've already shown, like, there's a photo out there of him in, like, a safari suit and the Flash, and that has to do with the Gorilla Grodd episode, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Main thing is, I do like that Julian, aka Malfoy, is going to join this team, because it's just going to add another dynamic, and it'll be pretty cool. Like, it's a new perspective on fighting metahumans and whatnot, and see if he can help them in any way. But I do think he is going to betray them somehow. And he even made that last joke. He was like, yeah, I'm glad to be a part of a new team because my last whole team died. And the whole group was like, oh, fuck. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the biggest thing in this episode, and that is the headlines from the future. Because you know that is what the Flash and the whole team are trying to do. They want to change these headlines to hopefully change the doom of Iris dying. So that's what they're doing, and we already saw one get changed. It wasn't the Flash that apprehended Plunder, it was Kid Flash. So, you can expect over the next few episodes that they are going to be trying to change these headlines. Every time they come up, they're going to be like, oh shit, this is so-and-so, let's go ahead and change that. And you can also see that they've already started doing that. Cisco already started helping with Star Labs, because you know one of the headlines was Star Labs closes. So more than likely Cisco was like, oh shit, let's go ahead and try to get business up in here, and that is what he did. He helped out with the whole virtual reality Cisco, and they're just really going to try to make Star Labs an actual thing, which I'm so glad, because for a while I was like, how the hell did nobody question what Cisco and everybody's doing at Star Labs? Thank you, HR. You are a vital part of this team. Thank you for clearing that up. So we see that they're already trying to correct the Star Labs thing. So that headline might change. Like, Star Labs is a success or something like that. But there were other things. We saw Killer Frost still at large. We saw guerrilla attacks. Music Meister gets like a book deal, something like that. Joe West is honored, and a murder, or Luigi's opens up after a murder. So let's go ahead and try to guess what these things are going to be about. So like I said, the Plunder one already changed. The Star Lab one is kind of probably in motion. That's why Cisco's trying to help out with Star Labs. I meant Star Labs Museum, not Star Labs. But the most obvious one after that is Gorilla Grodd. Gorilla Grodd we know is going to have, I believe, a 2-episode arc where he is going to be, you know, fighting. Like I said, there was that photo of the Flash and Malfoy in a freaking safari suit. So that's going to be from, you know, gorilla hunting, as they were saying. Maybe the team is going to try to find Gorilla Grodd before he comes to Star City or Central City, and they're going to try to stop him before, so that changes the timeline too. Maybe that's why they're in the jungle. Who knows? But I do think that the gorilla attack at the freaking Central City or whatever is going to be from the Gorilla Grodd episode. Of course, the Music Meister one is going to be from the musical episode. We know that Flash and Supergirl are going to have a crossover that is going to be a musical, and that is obviously where Music Meister is going to come in. So they're going to have to change the timeline somewhat with that, which is kind of cool, because that means that the Flash is going that episode's going to have purpose. And that's what I said when we got the musical. When I did that video about, like, why the hell are we getting a musical between these people, I said I'm totally cool with it as long as it makes sense, and as long as they have a villain that makes sense, and it's not just a random episode that's just all like, oh, we're dancing and we're singing. Like, mind you, I don't have anything against musicals. I fucking love La La Land. It's one of my favorite movies right now. But I'm saying, when it came to doing musicals and shows and stuff like that, in sitcoms you can get away with it because sitcoms are just supposed to be funny, but this superhero thing is like, you know, chronological kind of shit and whatever, and, you know, I wanted it to make sense. So it's cool that they're going to have a villain that is going to be musical related, and that headline is going to come from that time. So the Flash episode is more than likely going to be them trying to change this whole timeline so he doesn't get a book deal. Right? That's what the headline was, right? I might be mistaken, but you know what I mean. So what about the other ones? The Killer Frost is still at large, basically telling us that whatever Caitlin does, she's gonna end up being Killer Frost. Then there's a murder at Luigi's, but the title of that headline is Luigi's reopens after murder. What if those two are connected? What if Killer Frost or Caitlin kills somebody at this place, Luigi's, and then it finally opens up after that? What if that is where she becomes Killer Frost? That would be pretty interesting, because that ties those two things together, and they'll be like, oh shit, how do we change this? So, I don't know if they're going to try to, I don't know how they're going to try to figure that out, because that's going to be really interesting. Maybe they're going to stay away from Luigi's and never eat there. I have no idea. It could be something about maybe Ronnie's supposed to come back. What if Luigi's is a nice place? Is that somewhere they've been before? I don't really know. I don't keep in, you know, I don't remember all the restaurants and stuff they ate to. But Ronnie's supposed to come back. What if him and Caitlin go out somewhere and then he dies or something happens and she's like, ah! She kills somebody at Luigi's and she's like, oh, fuck. I don't know. I just have a feeling that the Luigi's murder, because that thing clearly says that it reopens after a murder, is tied to Killer Frost somehow, because it just says Killer Frost is at large. Why is she at large? When you're at large, it means you've done a crime and they're searching for you. So bada bing, bada boom, what if those two are tied together? And what if Joe is the one that catches Killer Frost and, you know, that's why he gets honored, because he catches Killer Frost? I don't think that's going to be the thing, because I don't think Joe would actually go ahead and, you know, go after Caitlin unless she killed somebody close to him, like maybe that girl he was dating. I don't really know. But why is Joe going to be honored for some reason? And how are they going to change that timeline? How would they change Joe being honored? Because, like, I mean, maybe he wants to be honored. I don't know. So maybe those three are all connected, because there's got to be, those are like endings and beginnings, or they're actually really endings of how those things start, you know what I'm saying? Because reopens after murder, who got murdered? Okay, Killer Frost at large, why is she at large? Joe honored, why is Joe honored? So there's always a piece of the puzzle missing, so maybe they're all connected some way. I don't really know. I want to know what you guys think they mean and what they could be about in the comment sections down below. Guys and gals, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with all your Flash buddies. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all things nerdy and geeky on this channel. As always, I'm your host, JUICEbox. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. If I have a daily dose of juice, see you guys next time.